Infrared is an amazing technique, and there's no denying that the best way to shoot infrared images is using a camera that has been converted to shoot just infrared. But the problem with that is that many photographers can't justify or sometimes afford to have a body converted to just shooting in one way. So there is a way around it. It's not quite as good as doing it properly, but we can achieve a very similar effect using Photoshop. So the first thing that we need to do is create a channel mixer adjustment layer. And then as soon as the dialog opens up, we just need to check the monochrome checkbox. And I'll just move the dialog over here. And what we need to do is just really bring the greens up. So every image is slightly different. So the amounts can vary slightly from one image to the next, but you ideally need green to be at 100 to 120, and then the reds are in the plus region as well. I'm going to leave that at plus 40, and then we just bring the blues down. So for this, I'm going to go for minus 40. And one really important point to remember here is that the total needs to come to 100% because you just get a much better result. So if I just click on the eye just to remove the visibility of the layer, you'll see that all the greens and yellows in the shot have become quite white in a way that resembles infrared photography. And if we had more blue in the sky, by bringing the blue down into the minus region, we would have a much darker sky. But even if we'd have used an infrared camera to take this shot, the sky wouldn't have been that dark. It would have been darker than it is here, but not by a huge amount. So that's the main conversion completed, but there are a few more things that we can do to finish off the look. So I'm just going to close this dialog down, and now I'm going to hold down Control, Alt, Shift and E to merge all visible layers into a new layer at the top of the stack. So I'm working on a PC, which is why I use the Control key. So if you're using a Mac, that would be Command, Option, Shift and E. So now what we're going to do is add some Gaussian blur, because we're going to create that kind of dreamy, fuzzy look that you get with infrared photography. And for this, the amount depends entirely on the pixel count of your camera. So higher resolution cameras are going to need more radius, whereas those with a lower resolution will need less. So I'm going to go for an amount of 30 pixels, which is already dialed in there, and then hit OK. And now I'm going to change the blending mode from normal to soft light. So soft light is a contrast blending mode. So we're just boosting the contrast once again to mimic the effect of infrared photography. And we're getting that really nice kind of soft hazy look, but it's not quite as hazy as the Orton effect. So the only thing I need to do now with this particular layer is to reduce the opacity. So I'm going to take it down to 50% so that I maintain most of the effect, but it's just not as strong as it would be at 100%. So that's all looking good. I'm just going to merge all visible layers again. So that's Control, Shift, Alt and E, or on a Mac, Command, Shift, Option and E. And for this last step, we're going to add some grain to the image, just to get that kind of graininess that you would typically get with infrared film. This is a step you could miss out if you wanted to, but for me it adds quite a nice effect, so I always quite like to include it when I convert an image in this way. So just go up to Filter and the Camera Raw filter, and then just make sure that the Effects tab is opened up. And for this shot here, I'm going to take the grain up to 80. I'm going to increase the size slightly to 30, and then take the roughness down to 35. And you'll see there we're just getting quite a nice fine grain across the image, which is most visible at the moment in the sky. Then once that's all done, we can hit OK, and there you can see the grain. And if I could just toggle between the before and after, you'll see it's really subtle, but when you zoom in, it just breaks up the image and just finishes off that infrared look. So that is how to apply an infrared effect using Photoshop.